I'd like to call to order the June 7th, 2021 meeting of the Capital Improvements Board. May I have a roll call, please?
Flores.
Present.
Krasinski.
Yes.
Prieto.
Here.
Spitali.
Here.
Tyler.
Here.
Vanez.
Here.
Button.
Here, let the record reflect 7 present. No absent. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of the past meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Vanez, seconded by Commissioner Krasinski to approve the minutes of the last regular meeting of the Capital Improvements Board. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Flores.
Yes.
Krasinski.
Yes.
Prieto.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Vanez.
Yes.
Button.
Motion passes 7-0. I did say yes, didn't I? Sorry. Next item on the agenda is a report on the work study session. We had a fairly lengthy work study session discussion on tonight's agenda and all the items that are contained in the agenda. No decisions were made. We did talk about all of the upcoming funding allocations that we have. We had an excellent report from our both member and city controller on the ARPA funding condition that we are in, and how there's we have some good guidance, but yet more direction coming. We talked also about a project that we are looking into on what has been referred to as Oxbow Road, or 179th Street in Hammond. That would be east of Buffalo Wild Wings, and then to the Southeast Hessville Pump Station reconstruction, and then likely a resurfacing towards Klein Avenue. We also discussed our last work study session, where we had a discussion on scoring of projects, and then we adjourned from our work study session. Is there any discussion, questions, or comments on my report? Being none, we'll move on. Item number 5 is a report on funding. May we have a report from Madam Flores?
Thank you.
Please.
Yes, Mr. President. I just wanted to add, in addition to the ARPA fund conversation that we had in caucus, I did not mention that we did receive our most recent numbers from the boat. So we received an additional $1.69 million, which is about 118% of our average collection, which is very good, even with the consideration of the new boat opening up for those last 2 weeks in May. So hopefully I want to believe the first council meeting in July is when the mayor intends on releasing additional figures for the third quarter.
That's outstanding news. Thank you. Any questions for Commissioner Flores? Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is matter from the mayor, council, or other departments. Is there anyone of those groups wishing to address this board? Being none, next item is old business. Is there any old business? Okay, next item is item number 8, new business. Item A, funding allocation, Hammond Overlay Program in the amount of $2 million.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Krasinski.
I'd like to make a motion that we fund the Hammond Overlay Program in the amount of $2 million.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Krasinski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Vanez for approval of the Hammond Overlay Program in the amount of $2 million. Is there any discussion? So this funds a program that was presented to this board in March by Mark Gordish in the engineering department that listed priority streets for resurfacing throughout the city. It's a budgetary amount, and we will work with our annual paving contractor to get firm pricing, and if there's any underrun or overrun, we will certainly inform the board, and we will not exceed the budget. If there is an overrun, we'll withdraw a project to maintain budget. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Motion's been made by Commissioner Krasinski, seconded by Councilwoman Venez to approve the funding allocation for the Hammond Overlay Program in the amount of $2 million. Have a roll call vote, please.
Flores,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Spitali,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Vines,
Yes.
Button.
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Next item on the agenda is the funding allocation for the 2021 sidewalk program in the amount of $600,000. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Flores, seconded by Councilman Spitali to approve the funding allocation for the 2021 sidewalk program in the amount of $600,000. Is there any discussion? This is funding in the amount of $100,000 roughly per district to our annual sidewalk contractor who has been approved as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder by the Hammond Board of Public Works and Safety. This project is to correct defects in sidewalks and to improve accessibility for the Americans with Disabilities Act. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? May I have a roll call on the motion, please?
Flores,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Spitali,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Vines,
Yes.
Button.
Button votes yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next item on the agenda is the funding allocation, item C, funding allocation, Schneider Avenue Storm Sewer in the amount of $460,000. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. President.
Councilman
Second.
Spitali is a motion, seconded by Commissioner Krasinski for funding allocation, Schneider Avenue Storm Sewer in the amount of $460,000. Is there any discussion?
Just
Commissioner Krasinski.
one item, please. If in fact dollars become available from the Hammond Sanitary District, we'd ask them to bring them to this board's attention so we can help reimburse our fund and have money left over to do other projects.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, the proportionate share of sewer work on this project is about $260,000, so a little bit more than half of that project cost relates to the sewer work. This is a concern that we have relative to basement backups on the 7,000 block of Schneider that is inundating the combined sewer system. And the project's been designed, and we would like to go out to bid. This is a budgetary amount, and so when we receive the bids in 4 to 5 weeks, we will validate the number and let the board know. As Commissioner Krasinski, I believe, said, that this helps not only with the funding perhaps through the sanitary district, but also could be eligible for the ARP funding. I would mention that both the, and along with the earlier two items, have been allocated by the city controller and approved by the mayor at this point. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? I'd have a roll call vote on the funding allocation for the Snyder Avenue Storm Sewer Project, please.
Flores,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Spitali,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Vines,
Yes.
Button.
Button votes yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next item on the agenda is item D, funding allocation 2021 pavement preservation program in the amount of $300,000. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Councilman Spitali makes a motion.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Flores is a second. Is there any discussion? This is pavement preservation or crack sealing, $50,000 per district. We have an annual contract with Site Services to do the work. We did not have the opportunity to do any crack sealing last year, and so it's vital that we do this in order to preserve our assets in place. And it's based on an evaluation that was done by the engineering department last year. The funding has been assigned through City Controller's Office, could be eligible for ARPA funds, and the mayor has approved the project. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Flores,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Spitali,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Vines,
Yes.
Button.
Button votes yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next item on the agenda is item E, a funding allocation for the Robertsdale lead remediation environmental consulting for phases 1 and 2 in the amount of $261,511 even.
Mr. President, I so make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner
Second.
Krasinski, seconded by Councilwoman Vines for the Robertsdale lead remediation environmental consulting fee. Is there any discussion? So this project was based on a presentation that was given to us early this year by our Hammond Environmental Management Director, Ron Novak, discussing the some 100 properties that have high lead levels in the soil in the front and rear yards of these residences, bounded by the George Lake Trail to the south, 121st to the north, Atchison Avenue to the west, and Indianapolis Boulevard to the east, also known as Goose Island subdivision. We have the Chief of Staff, who is present with us this evening, Corporation Counsel Kevin Smith, and myself have negotiated the agreement with Enviroforensics in the amount of $261,511 to do Phase 1 and Phase 2, which consists of 18 properties in the southern and eastern sections of the area described. Their work will help us with a community relations plan in preparation for all 6 phases, and the management of the remediation of the first 2 phases, which includes bidding and oversight of the remediation. The project is likely eligible for ARP funding, and the mayor has approved the request. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? I would ask then for a roll call vote on the motion.
Flores,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Spitali,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Vines,
Yes.
Button.
Button votes yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next item on the agenda is a funding allocation, general engineering services to Nice Engineering in the amount of $60,000. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Motion by Councilwoman Vines, seconded by Commissioner Prieto, to approve the funding allocation for general engineering services for Nice Engineering. Is there any discussion? This is a $60,000 budget for Nice Engineering to do, as I said, general engineering services, which include drainage problems and other support for the engineering department, for which the capability and capacity is either not available or requires expedient work. Is there any other discussion on the
Mr.
motion?
President, just like to say that
Thank you.
at one point, the Port Authority took a little bit of advantage of this based on an offer by the City Engineering Department and helped the Port Authority tremendously with a little project over on Lake Avenue. And we appreciate the Engineering Department as well as Nice Engineering. They did a great job for us. So thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's 60,000. It's probably a little bit more than an annual amount. We were funding this $10,000 per council district, and so we do our best to try to manage and share the effort across all districts, and we appreciate the city's and this board's confidence in us in this matter. Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Flores,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Spitali,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Vines,
Yes.
Button.
Button votes yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next item on the agenda is item G, funding allocation, Purdue Refuge Island change order number 1 in the amount of $205.44. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Flores, seconded by Councilman Spitali, to approve the funding allocation for Purdue Refuge Island, change order number 1 in the amount of $205.44. Is there any discussion? This is a nominal change order because it's the local match for a 90% federally funded, 10% locally funded project on 173rd in front of the Purdue Northwest campus. The design did not factor in a electronic arrow board. The cost is there's no line item in the current contract for an arrow board, and so it was just simply an oversight. It's certainly an amount that is reasonable within the guidelines of the NDOT unit pricing schedule, and it would be natural cost for the city and the project to pick up. And so we are only talking about a 10% fee. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Flores,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Spitali,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Vines,
Yes.
Button.
Button votes yes. Motion carries 7-0. I would also say that the allocation has been approved by the mayor, as well as item F. Next item on the agenda is a Leopardo update. I have asked our esteemed Commissioner Flores, our friend Leopardo, Heather Garay, to help us through an update. Thank you, Heather, for joining, to kind of give us an update and some direction on how we move forward. So we last met you and Jeremy at our regular work study session meeting, not our regular meeting, and we were just hoping that you could just give us a real brief overview on the program, if you would please, Heather.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioners. We're happy to be here in front of you again for consideration of this motion. As we discussed during our work study session in May, the city has partnered with Leopardo on two pretty successful phases of this program. It has brought upgrades to dozens of buildings throughout the city. It's upgraded the fleet as well as converted all of the street lights to LED technology. And one of the buildings that was left out of these improvements was City Hall, and that was for other reasons. But now that it's been determined that the city will stay put, the mayor has asked us to look at proposals for making those needed upgrades to the building you're holding your meeting in right now, primarily addressing the HVAC and electrical and mechanical system upgrades that are direly needed throughout that building. We'll also be looking at a few other buildings throughout the city with some minor improvements as well as a redevelopment property. But the bulk of the work really is to address those needs at City Hall. Jeremy is here to answer any technical scope questions for you. But the reason we're before this board today has to do with the financing. So you are the first step in a series of approvals in order to get this project moving. The project itself will be about $13.4 million worth of improvements to the city, and it is guaranteed to save about $700,000 annually. That does leave a shortfall of about $300,000 that we are coming to you to commit your dollars to this project over the 15-year term. All of the equipment will be guaranteed during that time, And so it really amounts to tripling your investment to see this improvement throughout the city. But Jeremy is here to answer any questions, and anything about the financing I can answer as well.
Thank you so much, Heather, to get us, focused on this very important project. Any questions for Leopardo at this stage? Megan, is there anything you want to try to chime in on, or maybe set our path in motion?
Yes, if I could, I'd like to make a motion to send our letter of support to the Controller's Office to pledge an annual contribution amount of $350,000 to fund the Phase 3 Energy Savings Project.
Second.
So there's a motion on the table to approve a letter from the Capital Improvements Board in support of the project in the amount of $350,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Spitali on the motion. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Commissioner Krasinski.
Commissioner Flores, is there a way you can amend in the words "not to exceed," please?
Of course.
Thank you.
We're good. Robert's rules. Councilman Spitali, you're okay with the amendment to the motion?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion to approve that the CIB send a letter in support of the Leopardo Energy Savings Program Phase 3 in an amount not to exceed $350,000.
Flores,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Spitali,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Vines,
Yes.
Button.
Button votes yes. Motion carries 7-0. Is there any other new business?
Mr. President,
Commissioner Krasinski.
I'd like to make a motion that the CIB adopt the scoring criteria of the 17 categories that we look at as we go through the different projects.
Thank you, Commissioner Krasinski. Is there a second to the motion?
A second.
Commissioner Prieto is a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? I appreciate the opportunity to serve this board in the capacity of preparing. I appreciate the board's confidence in moving forward with our criteria for scoring projects. I'm happy to, as we move forward, if we see that there's some items that are missing, we can amend or adjust as we go forward. And the engineering department's happy to undertake the responsibility for actually making the physical scores as projects come forward. So there's a motion on the table. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Flores,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
Prieto,
Yes.
Spitali,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Vines,
Yes.
Button.
Button votes yes. Motion carries 7-0. Is there any other new business? We are now at the item for public expression. Is there anyone in the public wishing to address the board? Anyone in the public wishing to address the board? I would just say, if I wasn't clear earlier, our Chief of Staff, Phil Talon, is in the audience, as well as Matt Muta from the Sanitary District. We appreciate your attendance and support of our board. Is there any other business to come before the board? And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilwoman Vines, seconded by Commissioner Flores, that we adjourn. And yet, before we adjourn, I was reminded
21st.
that our next meeting will be June the 21st, with our work study session at 4 p.m. and our regular meeting at 5. With the motion on the table to adjourn, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.